And there we go. He's New York
Well,
Vinnie. I'm Michael Knight. We say good morning to you on a wacky Wednesday. Wacky White
yes,
Wednesday here in
wacky.
LA.
So wacky, we came in a little early.
That's believe me, that is wacky. It can't get any wackier than that.
Yeah, that's a little wacky. Yes, Michael Knight's down in Pasadena. I'm up here in Seattle, Washington, um, home of the 1600 studio.
If you keep saying that you're up there, people will know you're from down here,
Well, I'm from out there, actually. East, as people here like to say. Out east.
down
Out,
east.
out west.
Well, I never understood the down east part of Maine. How can you be this far up on the whole American continent and still be down east?
Well, doesn't part of Maine kind of jut out east?
Yeah, but even the part that's south of the southern part of Maine is pretty far north for the rest of the country.
Yeah, but it also juts out east, I believe,
It's got a
to
jut.
stop the East Coast
Got
coming
a
down.
got a
So maybe there
noticeable.
is a down east.
It's got a noticeable jut.
It's got a jut. Yeah, it's got a jaw. Maine has a jaw.
Now, a lot of people think that the jut was invented in Slovakia, but no, it was invented in Maine.
No, the jut was first invented in Maine, then moved to Slovakia.
They've
So
got a nice jut.
Michael, we're early this morning, and is it we're early because an action-packed night last night that I mean, what a day yesterday if you think about it.
Yeah,
We
crushing
declared
day.
war on Canada and Mexico,
And
and
China.
then the president addressed a joint session of Congress. It sounded like December 8th, 1941.
He didn't exactly address the joint session. Everyone was there, but he was only talking to the Republicans.
Well, that's true. That's true. And uh, I didn't watch the speech. I've watched pieces of it, selected pieces of it, but I've become so reviled by this guy that I can't watch it.
Can't
I
do it.
can't watch
Well, you missed the longest speech to Congress ever.
it. Yeah, he loves the sound of his voice. I mean,
He, if nothing else, last night, Vinny, what you missed is a president reveling in his total, complete, and unsurpassed power. He's very comfortable in being who he is right now. He thinks he's got the world by the tail.
yeah.
He's wrong at every move, at every juncture, at every decision. He's wrong, but he's completely convinced of his own power and infallibility.
But nobody will tell him he's wrong.
Well, his supporters are so doughy-eyed and tearful and uh, perplexed by his very being. And last night he said, "God saved him. God saved him so he could lead America.
Yeah. Well,
God saved him."
that certainly runs my faith in God down a little bit.
God's got a lot of explaining to do. But so does Harvard. I want Harvard to explain J.D. Vance before we go any further, and then we can ask God about Donald Trump and how come he couldn't get in.
Yeah,
How come he?
it's kind of hard that the same university that gives us the National Lampoon and the Saturday Night Live people, and also produces J.D. Vance.
Sooner or
How does
later, it had
that
to
work?
happen. It had to happen sooner or later. It's like all the monkeys in the world at a typewriter eventually will write Shakespeare's collected works. It's not going to be quick, and it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be pretty. But apparently, that's what infinity tells us about the possibilities with monkeys at typewriters.
Well, what I did watch was Slotkins, the new senator from Michigan's uh, speech
She kept it
answer
short and
to
sweet.
Donald Trump, and I also watched Pete Buttigieg last night on Colbert. And the one thing that's uh, become crystal clear is the one thing that I can't do. Uh, well, the one thing that I've been shying away from. I mean, I've been trying to just run away from Trump, watch it, and because there's so many outrageous things that you know are false. How long can you watch a liar?
Knowing he's going to lie to you and then watching him lie to you and lie to you again and again and over. And the Republicans in their little suits and their pantsuits and their t shirts and their hats are completely taken by him, completely taken in. Either that or they're fearful. Franz Kafka wrote a story about performing dogs. He watched the dogs perform every night, and he was absolutely astounded by the tricks that they would perform. And then one night he watched from the front row and realized that they were all trembling. They weren't performing, they were acting in fear of their lives, in fear of being damaged, in fear of being punished, in fear of being in pain, in fear of being left behind or being not fed anymore or cared for anymore or bathed anymore. They weren't going to be dogs anymore. They'd be wild animals. And he came to the realization that he had been wrong. They weren't enjoying their performance. They were doing it all out of fear. And that's the Republican Party, performing chihuahuas, trembling in their shadows, afraid to face their master, hoping that they'll be passed over for anything that will pass for as punishment or negative recognition or be demanded to do something that they can't do or shouldn't do or wouldn't do in a normal state of mind. And so that's why they stand with their little beaming faces facing the camera and applaud everything this evil, dark, conniving man says. They're yahoos and they're nincompoops. And to watch J.D. Vance over one shoulder and Mike Johnson over the other shoulder, the Speaker of the House and the President Pro Tem of the Senate, was enough to turn your stomach. Their expressions and their knowing glances at one another and their laughs and their chortles and everything that they could, with a glance to one another, agree upon. Boy, did you hear that? That was Donald that said that. That was our man. That was our leader. That was the Der Führer.
Well,
And it went like that the whole night.
yeah, and the only thing I can say and I can think of is that thank God if we play our cards right that we don't have 4 more years of that sitting in front of us. At least we have the ability to radically change what's going on a year and a couple of months
To upset the
to
upset
you know
the
to
voting.
and we're going to have to work harder in 2026 to elect candidates, and the Democratic Party uh, better get their act together here.
Republican Party now is saying no more town halls. Don't go
Oh
home.
yeah,
Don't talk to your constituents. Don't communicate with your voters. But those are the people that just elected me. I've only been in office for a couple months. Yeah, but did you hear what I said? No more contact with them. Don't ask them what they want. Don't respond when they call. Don't return their emails. Just hope for their vote. And if it looks like you're weak, we'll run somebody against you. Somebody
well,
worse than you.
that they're chicken shit. They can't stay there and they can do the stuff, but they can't take it because they're not working for the people. They're not working. They don't have these jobs because they want to help people. When Slotkin spoke last night, she said something that really, again, made me think, and I've talked about this a lot, is that the Republicans are not in this to serve their constituents. Maybe in some states, maybe in the most conservative states they are. But if they were serving their constituents, they would do something here. They would stand up against this. They would tell this guy that you can't do this.
They don't know what
Set us on
they
our
don't know what they stand for till they're told. Each and every day they're told what they stand for. Each and every day they're told what they mean. They're told where their stance is. They're told what their position is, and they're to accept it blindly, take the talking points, shut up, and just stand in line, stand in adoration, stand at attention, applauding their Führer.
if your car craps out on you, okay, I know cars. If your car crap you, and you have to go down and buy a car in the next, well, who knows how long, you are going to pay $12,000 more at least for that car. Remember, we were talking about the cars, and that the manufacturers were starting to see the light that they had to build cars that were more affordable for people.
Not anymore.
Well, now even knows. I mean, you take that Volkswagen that I tested a couple of weeks ago that had a $23,000 price tag on it. One of the cheapest cars you can buy in America.
Is it any assembly in Mexico and
I believe it's
Canada?
assembled in Mexico. That car will now cost you 12. But if you go to buy that car next month, that car will cost you $12,000 more. And
Oh,
actually, probably if you go to buy the car now, the dealer isn't going to wait to tack on the $12,000. They're going to
right,
tack it on
right.
now.
Yep.
We're not going to see dealers tacking on, waiting and saying, "Oh, wait a second, we want to be fair to the people."
How come you changed the price? Well, the Mexican thing and the Canadian thing. There you go.
Right.
There
So
you go.
for that that 26,000, that $23,000 car that you could have bought yesterday, uh, you're now looking at $38,000
And climbing.
and climbing. And who knows what it really will eventually be.
And remember, the tariffs are going to go both ways.
And,
We're
and,
gonna we're
and
gonna slap one
Volkswagen
on
isn't
them.
picking up that price.
No, Volkswagen's suffering. They're gonna
Volkswagen's saying, all right, if you want our car, you got to pay the tariffs.
and plus there's going to be plenty of stock sitting around. What color do you want? I got them all.
Right. And you're not going to be able to buy that car because the shipper that you work for is now not shipping products to Canada anymore
Because of the tariff.
because their tariffs are so high. So the American farmers have boxcars of whatever it is that we're selling Canada, Mexico. That stuff rotting in a train yard somewhere. That's sitting on a hump with the
That's just
dispatcher
it.
trying to figure out which way it's got to go.
Where can I park this baby? What is it? Soybeans or something? I don't know.
And
Tomatoes.
if I were a dumber person, I'd probably say, Michael, that it seems to be a pretty good plan to make people want to sidle up Russians.
If you were Mike Johnson or J.D. Vance, you just sit there and nod your head and go, "Pretty cool, really
Yeah,
cool."
look at what we're doing. And they have the
We
balls
got
to call themselves men of God.
we got the Canadians right where we want them.
Yeah, right where we want them.
Our closest neighbors, friends, and allies are now booing the national anthem every time it's
And
played.
and I think it's funny that they had people last night on these voter reaction things, and many of them, not all of them, of course, but many of them on the Trump side are saying, "Well, it's about time we got the Panama Canal back."
Yeah, we don't know how we're going to run it. Does it need water? Does it need oil? Does it need anything? Is there maintenance involved? How does it work? How do you you flood the water? Whoop, whoop, get that boat out of there.
You'll have people coming here to Seattle to look at the locks to see how it works, so we can go down there and run it. And you don't think the Panamanians are going to react kindly to that, do you? You think the Panamanians are going to say, "Well, this is an imperial. This is the kind of thing where they gave us the country back. They gave us the canal back. Now they're taking it back. Well, maybe we should
Well,
start shooting at people."
what about Greenland? Did they have a canal? The
I
frozen
don't know. I
Greenland
heard a
Canal?
comedian yesterday saying that Trump must really be confused. He must, because Greenland is full of ice and Iceland is, for the most part, has lawns and gardens, and so Trump must be.
I wouldn't overstate the tropical aspects of Iceland too much. They got a volcano that keeps the ice melted.
Yeah, well, that's that. Well, however, we got a volcano here that people are starting to think is going to rumble up and blow.
No, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's just getting ready for the day.
Oh, I wouldn't want to see what would come out of that if it blew.
It ain't going to be pretty and it ain't gonna, indelible, corrosive. Help me, Jesus.
Oh, she just gets more. We're disgusting. With
She's
every tick of the clock.
she's transitioning into a reptile.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody get more disgusting with every tick of the clock. It's amazing.
She has reptilian features.
Boy, she, So anyway, the thing comes down to what can we do about this?
No one's got an answer for that.
And I haven't seen an answer yet. I haven't seen anybody say, and that is because there is not much we really can do right now.
That's a fact.
And I really, there's just nothing to do.
One senator said we're on a countdown for 6 months. After 6 months, it'll be too late. There'll be nothing that can be done. And no means to do it, even if we had the mind, even if we had the inclination. There'd be nothing left of the government to stand against the tyranny.
It's I don't know what it's time to do,
That gives us
Michael.
till August.
I don't know I'm just I know that there's organize and there's do this and that, and I'm sure gonna try as hard as I can to do something, but I just don't know what there is to do.
Are there any marches organized in your area that you know about?
Not yet, but I'm gonna look. I'm gonna stay. I've actually, now I'm looking for a place to live, so I got to squeeze that activity in. Anybody, anybody made out there?
Get Vinnie an apartment. Let's make a deal here.
Yeah, let's get a house or something, or I don't know. I just never thought that the end of my life would be like this. That the waning days of my life would be like this.
Well, just hang on, Vinnie. It's going to get worse.
Yeah, that's comforting words. Those are very comforting words, Michael. But because I know it is worse, and I know that I'm starting to realize that people who want to take away my Social Security and my Medicaid and the things that I worked all my life for
Not yours
are
anymore.
going to accelerate their time. They feel emboldened. They feel empowered.
No one can stop us. No one can challenge us. No one can stand in our way.
Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. We're seeing that now.
And you saw the adoration of Elon Musk last night, or Leon. I'm sorry, I don't know why I call him
Yeah,
Leon.
we saw that, and we've seen the denigration of Zelensky. As I wrote on Facebook, I posted on Facebook. It's amazing how 3 years ago none of these people were saying anything bad about Zelensky. It was unanimous. Let's help him.
Yeah, there weren't quite as many pro-Russians as there are today. Just
Now, all of a sudden, you look and people who I would say know less about politics than I do are posting things like he's a dictator and a criminal and this and that. Putin's the war criminal, and people are standing up for Putin.
They're putting on little picnics for him.
Somebody wrote on my Facebook yesterday that if you like Zelensky so much, why don't you send him your money? And by the way, I don't know if I've showed you this before, but I don't know if you see that. But you see my cane? I walk with a cane.
I do.
You see that cane?
American Eagle.
Yeah, American Eagle. You know where it's made?
Ukraine.
Ukraine. So I sent my money to Ukraine. Fucking idiot. I tried to do what I could to support the people who are getting oppressed
That's the argument of it. If you like something so much, why don't you do something about it? Why don't you take care of our foreign policy? Why don't you feed the hungry? Why don't you take care of the air traffic controllers? Why don't you close or open the national parks? If you want a park so much, why don't you take care of Yellowstone? Why don't you run it as a private organization?
Well, then what's the sense of having united in the name of the country?
Good point.
What's this? I mean, just call it America.
Every maniac for himself.
Stop call, stop calling it United States because we're not united.
Trump made
I
it clear
heard.
last night that he did rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. He'd never made that clear to me before. I know he had said it should be called the Gulf of America, but I didn't know he renamed it. When did that happen?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Rename anything.
He didn't
Uh,
make that. He didn't make that clear.
He doesn't have the right to.
how much time he spoke for 2 hours? How much time did he outline
He named it in his mind.
um, policies? How much time did he say what he was to do as far as helping the person who's paying close to $10 a dozen for eggs?
Nothing.
How much time did he spend talking about helping the middle class?
He said there was going to be an economic pinch, and he was okay with it.
Oh, he was. You know, that's good. Because he's a billionaire. So of course he's okay with it.
He's going to cut taxes for everybody, Vinny, and you've really got to believe that when I tell you. He's going to cut taxes for everybody.
You know what he's going to do is he's going to do the same thing he did in COVID. They're going to bang out some checks for a couple of $1,000s and send them to everybody. And they'll be a great guy because he sent them a check.
And then Leon will pay for it.
And Leon will pay for it. Although he may be hard pressed to pay for it because he's going to be minus one car company pretty soon.
Sooner the better.
The general public seems to be taking out their disdain of Musk on his auto showrooms.
What about SpaceX?
There
I
was
think they should shut that down too.
there was a somebody who set a bunch of Tesla superchargers on fire yesterday. I don't know if it was in Southern California or where it was. I forget. And then I believe in Salem, Oregon, somebody's put a couple of bullets into a Tesla showroom. I wouldn't go buy a Tesla right now.
Wouldn't want to hang around on the stock walk for too long.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even go look at them right now, even if you want one. Now, I don't like the violence. I don't think that the violence is good. And I think the individual violence against individual Tesla owners is unwarranted and shouldn't be. I mean, maybe these people knew what Musk was. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Maybe they were trying to do the right thing by buying an electric car and helping the environment.
They wanted the strong man to be happy with them instead of unhappy.
Well, I don't know that they knew that he was this much of a strong man. They bought the car. Now, if you bought the car since January, well, if you're riding around in temporary tags, I wouldn't want to be riding around in temporary tags. But I don't think it's a good idea either to be doing that. I think that selling your car, the more people that sell their Teslas, that can afford that will tank the stock prices out because they'll have to drop. They'll have to drop the prices of the new cars.
Are Teslas assembled in Canada or Mexico?
I believe they use a large number of parts from Canada. They're assembled in Texas and in Fremont, California.
Well,
but I think the batteries come from Canada.
Oh dear. They don't go far without a battery. If I understand the Tesla engineering scheme, you need the battery.
Well, almost every car has parts now from Canada or Mexico because we've moved so much of auto manufacturing into those two countries.
Because they're convenient, right across the border, but a lot cheaper.
Right, and there's no tariffs. Uh, so so I give the American car business, and we'll talk this a lot more this weekend on Drive Time.
Six
I give,
months. Give it.
yeah, I mean, I think in 6 months you're going to see massive layoffs in Michigan.
Because you don't need to keep making Chryslers if you can't sell them.
Well, yeah, and if the parts have gone up so much, because again, they may be assembling the cars in Michigan, but the parts that are there are from Canada and Mexico and China. Nobody's talking about China in this thing, but he's got a 20% or 25% tariff on China.
Which they doubled to match their Canadian and Mexican partners.
So all the stuff that we're sending over to them.
So this puts an economic squeeze on the Republican dream that's going to make it worse day by day, week by week, month by month between now and any midterm elections.
Yeah. It
And
doesn't.
Trump's response to it is: do not talk to your constituents, do not hold meetings, do not interact, do not say hello, do not pick up the phone, do not answer the email. I got you.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you're going to see.
I got you. And what if I don't have you? What if I don't have your back? What are you going to do about it?
And nobody seems to have nerve to stand up.
Not one. Not one. The Liz Cheney example is still fresh in their minds.
We need something, man. I don't know what we need. I don't know who we need, I should say. I know what we need. I don't know who we need to stand up.
I think a leader would emerge from this, and they may, but right now I don't see it.
But we certainly need somebody, some person has to come along with enough charisma, with enough Trump. Who is the Democratic Donald Trump?
No, it doesn't exist. Bernie walked out last night. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Much different would have been if they didn't run Hillary and they ran Bernie.
It would have been more lopsided.
And and I got to tell you, Michael, I refuse to believe that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all of us that are on the side of truth, justice, and the American way. That's what we need, really.
Superman. Damn
I refuse to believe that we're all wrong.
We're not the patsies.
I mean, can we be wrong? Can it really be that if you're strong, you win, and if you're weak, you should just go jump off a bridge?
Wrong and strong. Remember, you got to be both.
Is that what we've come down to?
You're just the bully in the classroom that says 4 and 4 or 9. The best 9 you've ever seen, a 9 you've never seen before.
I mean, I thought the bullies in the world were put in their place.
They get there, but it takes a while, doesn't it? You have to be a bully in good standing for a while before somebody takes them out. And when you take them out, you gotta kill them when they're down. You gotta kick them. You gotta defeat them totally and convincingly.
Yeah, I think the log cabin by the lake, man, is starting to look better and better all the time. I think that Not that I can afford it or anything, but I think that I just like we have to find somebody, something, some answer here.
There's not even an
And
answer to the Social Security scheme he's got going. What if I just take the Social Security away from everybody? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? How can you stop me? How can you get the money that I owe you? It'll never happen. I'll do what I want with your money, and you won't have a word to say about it. Not a peep.
yeah, yeah,
Not so much as a struggle. And I'll give the money
yeah.
to Cash Patel, and he'll give it to Leon Mux, and he'll give some to the rest of the yahoos and sycophants and
All of these
uh,
people are going to get taken care of.
nincompoops.
All of
Work for
these
me.
people,
JD Vance will smile at Mike Johnson, and Mike Johnson will smile at JD Vance, and it'll be done. And I
it's
don't want to hear a word
disgusting.
out of you Americans. You Americans, not a word, not a peep.
What a shit show we've turned into.
We're the joke
What
of
an
the
absolute shit show.
we're the joke of the planet.
I
And the aliens were getting all ready to say, we're here," and then they say, hold everything.
well, how long is it going to be until some countries? We've had enough of this shit. How long is it going to be until Putin or China or we talk about China invading Taiwan all the time. What about China invading Los Angeles or San Francisco?
Best guerrilla fighters in the state.
They don't.
Trump wouldn't help us.
How long is it going to be? Is it going to be until that becomes reality? All of a sudden, we're dancing to a different tune.
With a very noticeable Chinese lilt to it.
Yeah, that instrument with the ding 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 ding. That thing's going
Well,
to be quite popular.
Trump would say, I can't defend you because I'm busy right now, but I can make a great deal. China can have California. It's going to be a great deal. You'll see.
Yeah, China can have California. We're all the way over here. What do we care? Matter of fact, take on Washington too.
You could have Nevada for if you share the metals with us. All I want is half, just to wet my beak.
Yeah, it's well, and the question is, what do we do?
Well, if this was baseball, we'd say it's still early. We would worry privately,
No,
but
it's not still. We all of a sudden find that half the season is gone. They took the 100 games out of the middle of the season.
and sold them to Putin.
So now there's 62 games left, and we've played 25 of them. So, instead of go down to your local Democratic club and put your name in and organize, we get what will be the tipping? I guess the question really is, what's the tipping point for America? At what point does America look at all of this and say something done?
Well, we're only getting a vague idea what America thinks about this because if the Republicans won't talk to their constituents and Fox News won't cover it and the Republicans deny it, it doesn't exist. It does not exist. There is no swing to the other side. There is no complaint. There's no problem. There's no unrest. There's no worry. There's no demonstrations. You saw what Trump suggested yesterday.
Yes, let's make demonstrations illegal.
Demonstrations are illegal. These are illegal demonstrations just by the definition. You can't have a demonstration on a college campus.
Well, look that.
I know. I thought so too.
again,
And nobody says a word about that. Not a peep.
Mr. Bon. Well, yeah, because you know what? They block traffic. I couldn't park my car next to the university. I had to park it 2 blocks away.
Parking at the campus is just crazy.
I couldn't get into Starbucks to get my latte.
Those are the communists. By the way, the Republicans always think that the Democrats have enough money to pay demonstrators, pay people to disrupt
Yeah,
your operation. Those are
it's
paid actors.
paid demonstrators that are going to the town meetings.
We got money for that. We got plenty. We got a budget for paid demonstrators.
Yeah, haven't they learned anything from us that you should, put the stuff online? It has more effect when you pay somebody to write something through and put it online because people
Get the
are
research writer for you.
yeah aren't going to check the source of it. I read something yesterday about Zelensky. It was a long dissertation. It ran down. It was it was long, and this somebody I know posted it, so you know it's true. And it was written by a guy named Danny's American Flag, and that was nothing attributed. No, like, well, this came from the New York Times. This came from the Washington Post. This came from CBS News. Nothing.
Daddy's American flag.
Yeah, I knew it was Danny's American Flag, and Danny posted this, and so Danny must know all of these inside things that nobody ever knew. And the worst thing is the comments after, because it's bad enough that somebody posted, but then you have 5 or 6 or 10 people that think like that person does, that would post that crap without even checking it. Sure that it's legitimate. I mean, I don't care if you post something that's against what I believe, as long as you look at it and check it.
Oh, Vinnie, no, that's not the American way. That's not
And
going to work in
Google it
America.
and see who wrote it.
Not going to work in America, Ben. Sorry, you're in the wrong country.
If you do that,
fast and quick,
and
you want to slick
credible,
and dirty.
well, you know what? I'm wrong sometimes. I'm not right all the time. Well, I'll tell you what I haven't done. I think in all of the time that I've been on Facebook or the other social media channels, I think I posted something wrong twice. And both times by mistake. And both times I was an idiot and I didn't check it. And both times when I found what it was, I took it off right away. And both of them had to do with something that was written a year ago or 2 years ago.
Did it have anything to do with this?
Had changed.
Have anything to do with the Smokey Burgess rule in baseball?
Yes, it did, as a matter of fact. But I feel a responsibility when I post things on Facebook or on X or whatever it is that I'm posting on. I feel a responsibility because maybe I have an aggrandized image of myself, but I think that sometimes people look to me for things that are posted and they have a trust in me that the things I post are going to be true.
Well, that's just stupid, Vinny. That's not American at all. There's nothing American about that point of view. Why
and
think like that?
That I have a certain credibility.
Americans have no credibility. We don't care about it. We disdain. We laugh at credibility. Ha ha ha.
And that when people look at something that I post, they don't at least Googled it and checked it out against.
Americans like to be wrong. And more than that, we like to be shocking and then wrong. First I shock you, and then I absolutely...
Well,
I make it worse by being
like
desperately
tell me
wrong.
if I'm wrong in that. More and more seems like the truth doesn't matter.
Nope. Doesn't even count.
You
Counselor
know, we
Zip.
have a TV station here that run a logo that says the truth matters.
That right there tells you that it doesn't.
And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, is your idea outdated. You know, we've turned into, and again, I don't know that you can fix this. I don't know how you fix it. You shut off social media? Does that fit? Does that fit?
I'm sorry, Leon won't allow that.
Do you, the only way that it's going to get fixed, I think, is that you have somebody with as dynamic a personality that people believe as much as Trump.
But how do they do it? How do they believe this guy who's so obviously a charlatan, so obviously a liar, so obviously a dark creature of the other world? He's from the nether world. God did not send him. God did not save him. It wasn't God, believe me.
Well, do you notice something about people that support him? You probably notice many things,
They have a
but
level of they have a level of desperation, and
they all, not they all, but many of them
they're
are
touched.
people who watch The Apprentice. And through watching The Apprentice, now I never watched The Apprentice. I never watched one episode of that crap.
I didn't either.
But many of the people that watched it saw how this guy who was built up to be a successful businessman, who really wasn't, because it's TV, folks. The same people that think that Archie Bunker was a real person, that Don Amici invented the telephone.
He
Go
did.
look that what up, kid. Uh, those
All that's
same
true.
people were enamored by the fact that this guy could walk in, and if somebody famous did something stupid, you could go, you're fired, you're out of here. And they wanted their government to run that way.
And now it does.
They wanted their government, the woman who was slow at the Department of Motor Vehicles, the Social Security worker who was, down at the Social Security office and, methodically went through the papers, the person who, the investigator who came to their house and found out that they really didn't need the disability that they were getting and actually reported it. They wanted to see all those people fired. Just like Trump fired the people on The Apprentice. And that's why you have this, I believe, and this is just my opinion, it's not an empirical study or anything like that, but I believe that's this mess of people who believe in this guy.
And they believe that he's going to show them. He's going to show the Chinese. He's going to show the Canadians. He's going to show the NATO allies. He's going to show them what? What is he going to show them? What is he going to prove to them?
He's going to show us what the Dust Bowl looked like in the 30s or the
It's going to
20s.
be an
30s.
ugly, ugly mess. We're going to have to.
That's what he's going to show us.
We're going to have to unwind it all the way back to January.
That's what he's going to show us, man. He's going to show us.
What country do you think J.D. Vance will escape to? Spolpaki says they don't want him because he was talking about.
Well, certainly not Vermont.
No, they didn't particularly enjoy his visit, did they?
No, it seems that he wasn't welcome in Vermont.
Get out of town. When he got out of town, they lined the way to the airport for him.
I hope he didn't think that was a bunch of people who applauding him.
That's what they told him. They're for you. They're for you, JD. They love you. They love you and your family.
If they weren't $10 a dozen, they probably would have thrown eggs at him.
I think that's a good idea. Let's throw eggs. The most expensive demonstration ever. Eggs. Eggs over America.
Unbelievable, Michael. Unbelievable. It's
Well, I expected it to be a wacky Wednesday, but now I'm afraid about the fractious Friday. By the time we get to
yeah.
Friday,
I mean, who knows
what
what's
else will
gonna
have befallen us? What
yeah,
will
who knows what's
befall
gonna
our
happen? Hey,
nation?
before we go, I do want to acknowledge we didn't get a chance to do this on Monday, but David Johansen passed away
New York
over the
Dolls.
weekend, aka Buster Poindexter. Uh, but certainly
Distinctive
his
speaking and singing voice.
yeah, but his I still his greatest commercial success was the Buster Poindexter thing that he
Right.
did in the '80s on Saturday Night Live and turned into quite a nice little career of going around to different places. I went to a couple of Buster Poindexter shows. The one I remember the best was at Bimbo's 365 Club in San Francisco.
But you're still there after all that San Francisco's been through and all the changes. Bimbo's 365 has survived. How the hell did
Bimbo's
that
anywhere.
happen?
But I remember being in a conga line around
I found myself on a conga line. Help.
around Bimbo's 365, just doing that. Da 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 ole ole. And for somebody to bring that kind of pleasure
It was fun.
to a room full of people, that was doing. He had found
His
his
niche.
groove. But before that, as a member of the New York Dolls,
He had another groove.
he had quite a different groove. One of the first bands to dress up in women's clothing. I remember the New York Dolls when they used to play a place called Coventry, a club. This was before they went into Manhattan. They used to play a place called Coventry
Now, where
on
was
Queens
Coventry?
Boulevard. You could see it for $1. And that for a while became the hippest place in New York because everybody was going to see the Dolls there. And then, of course, they moved into Max's Kansas City, and the rest was history.
They went
The New
uptown.
York punk scene was born, but this was the anti-disco movement.
Is Sylvain still alive?
Oh, I think he passed away. Johnny Thunders passed a couple of years ago.
Also, we lost another member of Badfinger. The last member of Badfinger, Joey Molin, died yesterday at the age of 77.
Yeah.
The
Well,
guitarist.
they're all they're going, man.
That's all of them now. No more Badfinger.
All people that we watched and enjoyed when we were growing up through various stages are are leaving us,
Stardust.
and it's sad, but I think the thing, as I was saying to somebody about Buster Point the other day, about Johansson, was that at least these people are leaving us with something that will live on forever. I mean, 50 years from now, some kid will see the New York Dolls, and if it's still legal, will want to dress up like a New York doll and against the establishment and go against the government, go against now. That's why we have to fight to keep the country so that that kid can put that dress on
And have a hit record.
and put makeup on and have a hit record. Right. That's what the fight is about.
In many ways, you're right.
Or if the kid to pull out an album from the 80s and pump his hair and put on a tux and lead people around a room in a conga line. But the government says we don't like conga lines because that's in Spanish and English is the official language of the United States. That this that this kid is comfortable doing that.
Bring back the sensibilities and all the influences that made Wang Chung possible.
Bring back the senses that made Wayne Cochran possible.
Now, there was a pompadour. I don't know how he kept it in place. I don't know how he got it to going in the morning, but there was a pompadour.
That dude had it going on, man. That guy had hair. That
It
guy had
appeared,
hair. I
it did appear
mean,
that he had plenty.
yeah. That guy had it going. He had it going on, man. Wayne Cochran. I remember meeting him on the boardwalk in Atlantic
Pretty hard to forget it, I'm sure, if you met
at
him.
4 o'clock in the morning, man. There's Wayne and the CC Riders walking down the boardwalk, man.
And here we come. You weren't
Yeah.
likely to mistake him for Wally Cox, were you?
And Freddie and I are hanging out on the boardwalk at 4 o'clock in the morning, and here comes Wayne Cochran, man.
It was a procession.
Formation.
Oh, yes. Damn right.
He's at the, and they're like in a V formation.
A phalanx.
And they had this,
Stand aside.
yeah, and so we just went up to him. You know, we're kids, I don't know, 15 years old, 16 years old, whatever it was. And said, yo, Wayne, what's happening? And he stopped and shook our hand. And when he shook your hand, his jacket jingled
He had this bling everywhere.
because he had all that blue, all those not sequins, but you know those things that hung off. I forget what they call them. So it'd be like you'd hear like a sound when he shook hands,
Charm bracelet.
and everybody would stop behind him. And then, yeah, all right, nice to talk to you. Boom! Everybody picked it up in
3,
formation,
2, 1, follow me.
following it down the boardwalk, man. He was the white James.
And the White Otis Redding.
Guy had a great voice, a great presence, and if you ever get a chance to watch Joe Namath,
Couple shows a night.
the CC Rider, the heck of a period piece. With Joe Willie riding around on a motorcycle. It's worth the look.
Maybe for your show on Saturday, you'll know more about how the tariffs are going to work for cars. What people pay one tariff for.
Yeah,
for
we're
Canadian
definitely
involvement.
to get an expert on these things to join us. Somebody from the car business that can figure out. Although, from what I'm hearing so far, is nobody really knows yet. They just know that they will. You know that the next of knobs that they have to send for a Chevy Equinox.
I want to know what's the most expensive car post tariffs. You pay the Mexican tariff, you pay the Canadian tariff, then you pay their Mexican response tariff.
Well, that's
and
one of the
Canadian
things
response
because
tariff.
cars now, it's not assembled all in one place anymore. The engine is made in Mexico, and they match it up to the transmission down there. They send it up to Canada, and they match with a chassis or a body, and then it goes to a plant in America to get the finishing touches.
Put the hood on.
So you're going to have cars that start out, the engine starts in Mexico. It gets the transmission in Canada,
That's
and
the
maybe
tariffs right
a chassis, and maybe the tires. And it comes to the computer stuff. They use chips and computer stuff comes from China.
That's 3 tariffs.
Now, a lot of people
Plus the
say.
matching.
Well, bring that manufacturing back to the United States. Well, that's okay. I'm all for that. But will you pay what the difference is in labor from the United States and
Well, the typical way of the Americans is to do it and then figure out that it was more expensive the way you had it than it was the way it was.
an auto worker in Mexico makes about $400 a week. An auto worker in Detroit, I don't know exactly, but I'd say between 3,000 and 4,000 with benefits and everything.
And tariffs on the benefits.
So how do you think that that's not going to drive up the price of a car if they start to
Only
move
up.
that manufacturing? Volkswagen says, okay, we'll bring off manufacturing back to Pennsylvania, where they used to make the Rabbit.
Yeah, but you got to tool up your assembly line. You just can't say we're going to start making rabbits. They're not prepared to make rabbits. They're unable to make rabbits. They don't even have the
Yeah.
raw materials for a rabbit.
So it's one of the things you have to consider. Any way you slice it, it's going to cost you
A lot more.
You can't have cheaper eggs if you don't have the chickens to lay them.
People are talking about the price of eggs. What about the price of avocados? Those are going to go right through the roof.
Yeah. I hope you're not planning on avocado dip for your Cinco de Mayo celebration, or have they outlawed them? Are they going to be so de America?
It's Cinco America now.
Yeah, you won't be able to say Cinco de Mayo because it's not in our official language.
Those words do not exist in English. Sorry.
Amazing. It's absolutely amazing. All right, Michael, let's do this again on Friday. Let's hope that
Use the rest of your day to freak out quietly amongst yourselves.
quietly. I have to. I got to run and look at apartments and find out where the hell my passport is.
Okay,
So
go then. We'll see you for a freaky fractious Friday.
I'll have a full day. And listen, take care of yourself, Michael. Take care. Send my love to your family, man. And if nothing else you do today, pick up your phone and call somebody in your family and tell them you love them, because I think and for these few months they're going to need it more than ever. You want to know when the whole world's collapsing around you, you want to know that somebody loves you, that somebody cares about you.
That Elon Musk is spending your Social Security check right now.
Yeah. Well. All right, man. See you Friday if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise. Peace, love, and Manischewitz, Michael.
Whew, what a wine. See you then.
Take care. Thank you all for listening, man. We appreciate it. And as my friend the Deal Guy on YouTube says, I love you.